Okay, so now that we know where Twitter fits in the customer value journey, how to generate awareness and engagement, it's time to build your Twitter strategy. So what is a Twitter strategy? It's like any other strategy. It's a plan for the content you're going to create, how you're going to schedule it, and making sure it gets distributed to your ideal audience on Twitter. So here are the 4 main steps you're going to follow to craft a winning Twitter strategy. First, you have to know who you're after. So that's going to require researching your customer avatars and your target audience. Then you're going to look at creating unique and engaging posts that speak to your target audience. It won't work if you're just creating content for the heck of it. It has to actually matter to the audience you're trying to reach. And then you're going to need to organize and schedule your posts. This is where a lot of businesses get lost. They may have researched their customer avatars, they know that they're active on Twitter, and then they're working on creating that engaging content that really speaks to them, and they go gung-ho for a few weeks, and then there's nothing. There's a huge gap in time where there's no tweets. And that's because they didn't follow step 3 in the plan. And what's going to happen there is if you stop tweeting, your audience is going to unfollow you. They're not going to see you as a valuable resource anymore. So the 4th step that a lot of businesses fail to do is actually analyzing their impact and results. So they have this plan in place and they're tweeting regularly, but nothing's happening. You really need to use Twitter analytics and even third-party tools to dive in and see why. You'll notice patterns. Maybe your video posts are appearing more in your top tweets than images. Well, you're going to want to hone in on tweeting more video posts. So it's absolutely critical that you analyze your impact and results on a regular basis. And that's the same for all of your social media channels. So let's dive in how to research your customer avatar and see if they're actually on Twitter. So we here at Digital Marketer use the Customer Avatar Worksheet. And this is an incredibly valuable tool that you're going to want to use for all of your social media channels. And on Twitter, you're going to have to combine your customer avatar research with the channel demographics to see if there's a match, to see if your target audience is on Twitter. So first you fill out the customer avatar worksheet. You want to know their goals and values. So for instance, we target marketers and entrepreneurs. So think about their goals and values. Entrepreneurs, they want to be their own man or woman. They want to be the one in charge. So that is their goals and values. Their challenges and pain points. Not enough time, right? So what you're going to do with this information, for instance, the not enough time, you want to craft content around that pain point. For instance, 5 steps to save more time or 5 steps to optimize your time. Create content around their challenges and pain points. Help them be successful. The sources of information is great. You're going to want to think about your target audience. What books are they reading? What magazines do they subscribe to? Who are they following on social media? What conferences are they most likely to attend? What you do with this information is you go and you research those brands and people on Twitter. For instance, we would look at someone like Entrepreneur Magazine. They have a presence on Twitter. What are they tweeting? What type of engagements are they getting? Is there any inspiration that we can use to help craft our Twitter content? So objections and roles. This is about creating the content and speaking to the people you're after who are actually on Twitter. So it may not be, the head of the company. You may be creating content to speak to the marketing department at a company. So you just need to fill this out, fill in the demographic information. For instance, if you're targeting younger people versus an older audience, that's going to determine the content you create. The younger audience, they like that fresh, shareable content, those memes. The older audience, they're looking for more practical, useful content. So use this to help determine if your target audience is even on Twitter, and also to guide your content creation. So knowing who you're talking to and what makes them tick. What are their challenges on a daily basis? What could you provide that will actually help them? What are their goals, their hopes, their dreams? What inspires them? Knowing all of that information is going to help guide your content strategy on Twitter. So you don't want to stop at your customer avatar. You know who you're targeting, but you want to dive into your competitors, both direct and indirect. See what they're doing on Twitter. Do they even have a presence? What type of content are they tweeting? And most importantly, are they getting engagement? So I know that when I did the competitive analysis here at Digital Marketer, I noticed that our competitors were just tweeting out their blog posts automatically. There was zero engagement. What this told me is there's an opportunity for our brand to position ourselves on Twitter above our competitors by tweeting out more compelling and engaging and relevant content. So absolutely, you must do competitive analysis. Just dive in, think about a few questions. Do they have a Twitter presence? How many followers do they have? What are they tweeting? What's the frequency? Are they tweeting 8 times a day? Are they tweeting twice a week? And are they getting those engagements, and what types? And then you want to look at brands you think your target audience would follow. So that's going back to that sources of information. For instance, at Digital Marketer, we think our followers would probably follow Entrepreneur Magazine. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to Entrepreneur Magazine's Twitter and see what they're posting and what type of engagement they're getting. So this is a simple brainstorm activity where you just think and write down resources that you think your target audience would follow. You're also going to look at big brands and influencers in your industry. So for us, influencers would be like Gary Vee. So we'd want to know, what is he doing on Twitter? How is he engaging his audience? So think about those big brands and influencers that have a large presence. Let's say you own a restaurant. Fast food brands absolutely kill it on Twitter. So you want to check out, what's Wendy's doing? What's Popeyes doing? How are they getting so much engagement? And if it fits with your brand voice, you can adopt and adapt their strategy for your own. And then look at successful big brands on Twitter. And this is the same for any social media channel. I think a lot of brands, they'll just hone in on their competitors, if that, and they'll base their strategy around what their competitors are doing. But if you dive into successful brands on Twitter, you can find content inspiration. And so the easiest way to do this is you do a Google search. All you do is say, best brands in your industry on Twitter, and see what happens. And then you're going to get content inspiration from those brands. Hey, you can use Twitter to do a quick search for brands that you can follow and engage with. So for instance, we typed in entrepreneur here, and you just switch it to people, and then you're going to get some accounts that Twitter thinks that you should follow and engage with. And you can check these out, pull out your content inspiration, and even follow and engage with their tweets, retweet, reply. Just start building those relationships. So there's 3 ways to create engaging content that I really want you to focus on. The first is utility. So that's simply you're teaching or showing your audience how to do something with your tweets. So it's like 5 steps to a successful Facebook ad campaign, as an example. Then entertainment. Like I talked about with Wendy's and Popeyes, they use entertainment to engage and build their following. They do a tremendous job of it. If your brand's snarky, you want to make sure that your Twitter voice and your tweets are snarky as well. So the entertainment piece, it could be anything that's short and snappy and gets people to laugh or even surprises them. It can be even controversial. So anything that gets people to stop and engage, like memes. People also want to be inspired, and they'll share when they're inspired. So use things like quotes to inspire your audience. What's that little tweet that can get that person through the rest of their day? So these are the 3 main ways to create engaging content. Provide value, show them how to do something. Entertain them with memes, something funny, be snarky. And inspiration. Inspire with quotes and customer success stories. So now we talked about the 3 ways to really create engaging content on Twitter. Now, how do you do that? First, you're going to opt for short, catchy tweets, pick an extreme, and long, detailed posts. So that's where you're providing more information. Maybe you're sharing something that your audience doesn't know, or you're teaching them how to do something in your tweet. You want to consider your purpose: useful, entertaining, and interesting. Make sure your tweets fit in those categories. Evoke strong emotions. Remember, people are flooded with tweets. A tweet lasts 18 to 24 minutes. You want to evoke a strong emotion. That could be a laugh. It could be inspiration. Something that makes them stop and engage. And give your followers a surprise. People love to share surprises. So think about ways you can use your visual elements to surprise people as they're scrolling. So you're going to want to include a multimedia element in the majority of your tweets. So that's an image, it could be a GIF, it could be a video, because people remember 65% of what they see in an image. You're going to want to keep your tweets easy to read, focused, relatable, and beneficial to your target audience. You're going to want to share content that makes your audience think or even laugh, and change it up. Get your audience to engage with questions, lists, polls, and surveys. It's all a matter of trying different things, a variety of content, and then honing in on what works, making sure you're surprising your audience with these little engagements. So some examples. Netflix. This is a meme. They post a lot of these memes and they get a ton of engagement. There's something relatable and also funny to the audience. You can also do like HubSpot, where they change up their tweets by adding a list and a question. That's going to be a strong call to action, asking a question to engage your audience. I like this one from Fast Company. Can AI save the planet? Here's one way it's helping. What does this do? It adds intrigue. So people are going to want to watch the video and engage with it. So the key here, surprise your audience. Don't just tweet the same things over and over again. So now that you're creating that engaging content and you've started building your following, it's absolutely critical that you plan out your tweets and schedule them. Look at your current content. What do you already have that you can then splinter into tweets? So that's taking like that blog post, that core piece, and pulling out tips and quotes and creating a video around that piece and continuing to tweet about it. Also look at the content upcoming. Is there any big promotions that you can create some tweets around? Plan out, have a plan before you start tweeting. Determine your content mix. So I talked a little bit about that. You want to test a variety of content types: images, link shares, videos, GIFs, lists, polls. There's wide variety on Twitter. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to start tweeting out that content and seeing what's getting the most impressions and engagement, and then hone in on that content and making sure it's really great. So you want to create a calendar to stay on track. So I showed you how to do that earlier. This way you can plan out your content for an entire month, and you can totally make changes as you go along, but you have that plan that you can always reference. And then schedule. So now we're going to dive into 2 ways that you can schedule out your tweets. The first is via a third-party tool. This is a screenshot from Sprout Social, which we use here at Digital Marketer. And you can plan out and schedule your tweets. What I like about it is they have a calendar view. And you can do a calendar view by month or even week. And if you don't like the calendar, you can do a list view. So you have options there. The key is to craft your content, get it scheduled via a third-party tool, or if you want to use the free option, you can use Twitter's Media Studio, which you'll find on your profile. Just click more. You click on it, you upload your media here, and then once your media is uploaded, you see this little plus feather button. You click on that, you can craft your tweet, you can tweet right then, or you can choose a time to schedule. The important thing here is it's only for uploaded media. So you can't do just text-only posts. So now, you've got your audience, you've got some killer content that's engaging, you've got a plan, you've scheduled out your tweets, you're doing things on Twitter. It's happening. The key is to measure and analyze your performance. So look at your overall performance, monthly, quarterly, yearly. But you're also really going to want to dive into what's happening on a week-by-week basis. Maybe you tried a new content piece or a content type. You want to know how that did. Did it cause a spike in engagement and following? If so, you want to continue to test that content type. And if you see a pattern, you know that's one to really focus on. You're going to want to revise your overall strategy based on your findings. If you're tweeting the same type of content over and over again, and each month your engagement is flat, you're going to want to stop tweeting that content. You really want to revise your strategy and be like, okay, we're done doing videos. They're doing nothing for us. We're going to hone in on lists and images and link shares and test those out. It's a constant testing ground. You could use a third-party tool like a Sprout Social. They're going to give you more in-depth analysis of your overall Twitter performance. And what's great about those tools is you can track over time that these handy graphs that will show you what type of content you're posting. What engagements are you getting? And you'll notice trends up and down, and then you can adjust your strategy based on those findings. So yes, the third-party tools are going to give you more in-depth analysis, but for a quick glimpse at the overall health of your account, you can use Twitter Analytics for free. And this is going to give you a quick overview. You can even click on the Tweets tab if you want to dive into how your actual individual tweets have performed over a time period. You can even filter by top tweets to see what's getting the most engagement. So taking a look at here, we see a lot of red. You want to dive in and think about the why. Here, our tweets are down. So if you see the red, your tweets are down significantly and everything else is red, that's going to be why. You're not tweeting enough. So the change here would be to schedule more tweets.